Welcome to the E-Academy. In this episode, we'll continue exploring the BEWAVE system. This time, we'll focus on adding, editing, and removing system components, including detectors, control devices, key fobs, and rooms. So here we go. In the previous episode, we created a site we'll be working on now. The app shows that there are no devices added yet, so I click Add Device. A message appears letting us know that the device we want to add needs to be powered on. Next, a list will appear, showing devices found within range of our Smart Hub, but not yet assigned to any system. As you can see, there are quite a few unassigned devices nearby. However, in real-world scenarios, you'll usually be adding just one specific product, the one you actually want to connect. To make sure you're adding the correct device, check the serial numbers and find the one you need. Here, I'm choosing the smart plug. When adding a device, you should give it a unique name so you can easily identify it later. You also need to choose the room where the device will be placed. By default, there are a dozen of room types to choose from. If needed, you can also create new ones. To do this, click the Add New Room option below the list. Then give the room a name and choose a photo what will represent it on the site's main screen. There are over 30 different pictures to pick from. After scrolling to the bottom of the list, you'll find the Add Your Own option. This lets you upload a picture from your smartphone's gallery and assign it to the room. The newly added room will show up on the app's main screen once you finish adding the new device. To edit a selected room, click its name on the main screen to open it, then scroll down to the bottom and tap the Edit the Room button. Here, you can change the room's name or replace its photo just like when creating a room. You can also change the order in which devices are displayed, or remove the room entirely. Let's get back to adding a device. The next step is to select the group you want to assign the device to. This way, you'll be able to find it more easily and control it along with the rest of the group. When adding devices, you might also need to set up some additional parameters, depending on the functions the device offers. You might also need to select the mode of operation. This is the case, for example, with the multi-purpose detector, where you have to specify what you want it to do. The mode selection option will also appear when adding the Smart RGBW LED driver. Additionally, some system components use multi-channel technology. In that case, each channel needs to be configured separately, but only for the channels you want to use. And here is an important point. The number of positions a device uses out of the 128 available depends on how many channels you configure. Take Mini Multi-Extender as an example. You can set up 4 zones and 4 output channels, which means it can use 8 positions in the system. Each channel is treated as a separate device, so you can assign it to different room or group if needed. Besides that, some devices offer additional options. For example, with detectors, you can decide if they should be used for security, meaning whether they'll trigger alarms in the selected mode. And when you activate the armed 24 hours option, the detector will remain active around the clock, no matter whether any protection mode is enabled. This setting is typically used for devices like fire detectors. The Eco Mode option is also available for battery-powered devices. When active, it extends the communication interval between the device and the Smart Hub, which helps the battery last longer without needing replacement. You can configure additional options at any moment of the device's operation. To change its settings, find the device in the system, either through a group or a room, and then click its name. Settings related to the device's functionality are available in its widget, under the general information about the device. Of course, the available settings will vary depending on the function the device performs in the system. For example, with the smart plug, you can adjust the LED ring indicator settings and set up a schedule to control its operation. The available options will, of course, vary depending on the device. For motion detectors, you can set the number of impulses and the time for counting them before triggering an alarm. There's also an option for temperature correction. For sirens, you can choose the type of alarm signal. And for controllers, you can configure parameters like temperature settings, light brightening time, and roller blind movement time. Below these options, you'll find the Edit Device button, which lets you change the basic information you set when adding the device to the system. At the bottom of the device's settings, you'll find the following options. Replace device lets you quickly swap the device for another one of the same type, for example, in case of malfunction. Battery replacement. This option allows you to bypass the device and then easily replace its battery when depleted. Just remember to unbypass the device afterward. Bypass device. For detectors, this option deactivates them. And for actuators, it prevents any changes to their output status. And delete device removes the device from the system. Adding devices like key fobs and remote buttons to the system works slightly different. The difference is that a key fob or button will only appear on the list of devices after it's been used, meaning after you press a button, and not just when you insert the battery to power it up. When it comes to a key fob, remember to reset its internal memory first if it was previously added to another system. You can do this by holding down the buttons marked with arrows until you hear a beep. Once the smart key fob has been added to your system, you'll see button markings in its settings. Each button can be assigned to a different function, and the key fob can handle up to 5 functions in total. The functions you can assign include controlling devices, arming and disarming the system, running scenes, and triggering an alarm. Well, alright, but what if, sometime in the future, you want to add further components to the system? There are 3 ways to start adding devices to the system. First, at the bottom of the room details screen. Second, at the bottom of the device group details window. And third, at the bottom of the settings screen. Finally, keep in mind that no matter which room or group you start from, you can still assign the device to a different one. Okay, and that's it for this episode. Thanks for being with us. See you next time at the E Academy.